Welcome to the Jaws of Life podcast, episode 6. I'm Jeff White. The episode numbers are really irrelevant because it doesn't really mean anything other than that's just 6 is after 5, and I did 5 before, and this is the 6th one. Anyway, been a while since I did one of these, been a couple weeks, but I've been pretty busy. Projects and doing stuff here and there, and I've had to dedicate my time to other things, but I think, and I'm still dedicating a good amount of time to some stuff, but I felt like I had to kind of sort it all out or something like that. So that's why I'm doing one today. Let's see. Le Mans 24 has happened since the last time I did one of these. I think that was a pretty good Le Mans. I mean, there was no rain. So, I mean, which, I like a little bit of wet weather racing, but every once in a while, I think last year there was a lot of rain. It started in the rain last year. This year, it was pretty dry at the start. And, it was dry through the whole thing. So it was good. It was good to see a completely dry race. I think what stuck out with me was Toyota was there to win it again. And this time it wasn't really a technical thing with the vehicle that went wrong like last year. It was just, I think they just caught up in the moment, and the driver's caught up in the moment. He sees the guy, gives him the thumbs up, he takes off, which is kind of shows you how right everything needs to go to win that race. Porsche there to pick it up 3 years in a row, and there to pick up the pieces when it gets dropped by Toyota. So. They don't have Audi in it now, and people were saying, wow, if Audi was there, it would be ridiculous. They would just dominate it. But, I don't know. It's hard to tell. It seemed to be everybody was having problems with their hybrid units. And I think these vehicles, I mean, that's essentially what happened is they got the false start, and then that false start ruined the clutch, in the Toyota, which caused them to have to retire. So, I think it just goes to show you how, that race is still a difficult thing to do. Audi made it look easy, though. Audi did, I will say, like, there were a couple of good run of years there where I thought Audi was making it look easy. But, times could have changed. Who knows what would have happened if they would have been part of it this year. But the battle in the last couple laps for, I think it was GTLM, with the Corvette and the Aston Martin. I think that was right. I'm pretty sure that was the right class. But either way, it was the Aston and the Corvette with the Taylor, one of the Taylors driving the car. And that just I think that showed us, these higher end race car drivers, they still make mistakes. Mistakes still happen. And when they do happen, I think what you learn a lot as a professional racing driver, especially when it comes to mistakes, is that when the mistake happens, the mistake is done. That's it. The mistake's done. Forward vision. We got to look forward. We can't sit and lament on the mistake and, oh my God, it really teaches you how to drop okay, made a mistake, drop it, boom. Think about what you could have done, maybe to fix it right there at the moment, if you have time to do that. It also kind of, what I've noticed with a lot of race driving and learning how to do it and trying to be a student of it is that that's a lot of focusing on the now, and it sounds easy. Oh yeah. I mean, you're living in the now, it's such a cliched thing to say, but it's difficult to do when you're in it. When you're in it, it is difficult not to focus on the future. It's difficult not to focus on the past. It is very tricky to focus on the now, and it teaches you how to look behind just for a brief second, notice what you did wrong, come up with a solution, how to fix it. Now go right back to the now. How to make these adjustments on the fly adjustments, and that's one of the number one things I come away with, something like that, which I'm sure is something fighters would experience in a cage. You make a mistake, the guy takes you down. You go, well, I can't make that mistake again, and you realize what it is, and you get right back in that fight. Because if you sit there and you think about that for too long, he's going to take you down again, or he's going to pop you with a jab, or a hook or something, and that could be the end of the fight. So tiptoeing on that line, is such a tricky thing to do, but something you learn how to do very well. It's an exercise. You're not good at it when you start doing it. Combat teaches you that too. You can't focus on, if you focus on too far in advance in the future and too far in the past, you'll get shot. You'll not notice something you should have noticed that would have made you maybe stop for a second before you walked across a tripwire or a booby trap or an IED or something like that. So man. A couple Grand Prix have happened. We had the European Grand Prix out in Azerbaijan, which, everybody could talk about that controversial thing, which I think ultimately was, highly competitive guys fighting for a championship, and a little bit of a bad mistake there. But whatever, moving on. And the media keeps you that's funny because the media keeps these guys in the past with asking the questions, and they're just like, no, I'm focused on the next race, which is they're doing what they should be doing. It's the media that keeps you going back, let's tell us, what do you think? And these guys don't care, At the end of the day, they understand the other competitors because they are a competitor, And I don't think a lot of them take it as personally as we like to think. I think we want them to take it personally because we want a good story. We want some drama, to watch. And as spectators, that's kind of what you're looking for, is a little bit of drama. But when it comes down to them, I think they just want to be in the fighting for wins and championships. British Grand Prix, which happened, let's see, today is the 24th of July, so not this last weekend, but the weekend before. That was a good race. I think it showcased these cars pretty well with the higher speeds and the higher grip levels with the high-speed corners. But what stuck out with me, I think, was Daniel Ricciardo's performance. Lewis Hamilton dominating it like that, that's par for the course at this point. If he's got the good car and he's got the setup right, it's Silverstone. He's got the home team advantage, I guess, if you want to consider it in this kind of a sport. Daniel Ricciardo, though, starting and he did it twice, two races in a row. He started from the back. Pretty far in the back. Azerbaijan, I don't think it was so far back. I think it was like 10th, and he worked his way up. This was all the way in the back, and he worked his way to the top. And he even made a mistake at the beginning. He had that off. Little off excursion, but got himself back on the track. And I to me, if it's not when I look at it like, okay, dominating wins obviously are probably the best when you go out and you dominate. You get the pole. You go into the race, you get the whole shot, you get the start of the race is very good, and you just dominate the field. I bet that is probably one of the best feelings. Fighting, maybe like Bahrain 2014, you're fighting lap by lap, that's probably an awesome feeling for the win. But coming right up there would be if you started in the very back. I think working your way up, and obviously getting a win at that would be ultimately the best thing. But working your way up like that and just ticking off people, overtaking them, to me, that's up there. That's probably, in the top, I'd say top 5 of great feelings. Putting in a good lap where you didn't make a mistake, that's a great feeling. Even if it's a slow lap, because like, okay, that's the most I could do. I couldn't do anymore, and you gave it everything you had. And maybe you did give everything you have, but you could build more skill. That's also part of it. But if you feel like you've given it everything, that's a good feeling. But also coming through the pack and passing people and not giving any of those spots back up, I think that's probably one of the... I know when I do the kart racing, and I just did a kart race, I think, between last podcast episode and this one. There was the last main. That's the way it felt, and you can check out the video. It's on my YouTube. It'll probably be sitting right next to this podcast, there on my YouTube channel. But the main, if you want to skip ahead, go to the main and watch the main, because it's that feeling of just ticking. Okay, next, there's that target. Let's go for that target. Let's get that guy, and you go and you hunt it down, and You know, it's part of everything is kind of in play. Every skill that you've learned, you know, you have to be very consistent with your lap times. If you see a gap in front of you, you see a guy up there, you've got to be consistent with the lap times. You've got to not make, so you got to be very smooth. You've got to get up to him. And then when you get up to him, you've got to put some pressure on him. And then you start with some slight, because you don't really know, especially in kart racing, you don't really know who that is. You know, you might recognize, I mean, there's some times where, like in this last series, the Super Series, there was a guy with a BMW logo on the back of his suit. And I just kept seeing that. And I did, for some reason, it happens to where on these race weekends, I will be in every session with that guy with that BMW logo. And I will be, it's for some reason, it's like I will be in the right time frame as him. And I will work my way up to, and there's this guy. When I first started doing this kart racing at CalSpeed, it was a guy with a Goodyear logo on the back of his suit. And I would always be in every session, and he would come up, and I would come up, and it was my goal. Like, it's funny because it seems that to me that they're faster than me, or maybe I'm a little bit faster. But see, in kart racing, when you're a bit faster than somebody, doesn't mean that you're going to overtake them. It's actually very difficult when you're just slightly faster than them, because you know you can pass them. But it's always that these guys are so consistent, and they almost like don't take any chances, so they don't make a mistake. They just are consistently putting these up, and you are faster than them, and you have to pass them, but you're not fast enough faster than them to like really make a good move. So you've got to set that move up, and you've got to do it. And it's a good learning experience, because you know you're faster. You're going through some sections, and you're just like, man, I'm right there. I could pass this guy. I've just got to get him in the right position. And there was like one, I think it was like the Heat 2. I couldn't get past him. I got up to him and I couldn't get past him. And in the main, I passed him, and it was like it was the victory of the day for me. You know, it was like, I got the guy with the BMW logo. Okay, now moving on. And then you're on. And then I knew at that point I was faster than him, because he never threatened me after that point. After I passed him, he was behind, and I turned my head and used my peripherals to look behind, and I never saw him even close to me. So right after I passed him, he was gone. He was just out of it. And that just a victory of the day right there. And then you move on to the next guy, and then you use those skills again. You reset. Okay, got to reset. Don't worry about, you can't focus on the guy in back of me anymore. I've got to just power through. I'm going to go for that next target in front of me. Acquire the target, lock on. Okay, now and you can't overdrive the cart to get to that guy, because any little tenth here or tenth there is going to add up over the course of a couple laps. And the main there is 12 laps. So you've got to really put in good, consistent, smooth laps to get to that guy. And then now I've got to pass that guy. So we're going to slow down a little bit as I'm going to try to pass that guy. Whew. It's crazy, crazy stuff. But man, is it fun. I wish I could do that. I wish they would do a double race weekend where you could do 2 days. They need to do that next, like a double header. So one day you go out there and you practice, qualify, and then maybe they change the configuration, or they run it reverse the next day, or they run the same one both days. I think that would be awesome. Kind of like to do in Global Rallycross, they do a double header. They'll do round 6 and 7. I think they should do that, because it kind of like you just get in a groove with that track, and then the main's done. Going on to the next one. So if CalSpeed, if you're listening to this, let's come up with like a double header. Do like a double header kind of weekend thing, Saturday, Sunday kind of a thing. I don't know, just a suggestion for the Super Series. I think that would be fun. Okay, now project wise, CBR forks are rebuilt, back on the bike. Wheels, I had to get a new wheel bearing removal tool to pop the wheel bearings out, because I only had the Harley size, and those are standard, and the ones for these are for the CBR are millimeter. So I had to get a 20 millimeter tool to pop them out. Popped them out. So now I got to take my wheels over, get the tires dismounted so I can get them powder coated and stuff like that. But moving along with the CBR. The CBRs, it runs good. I start it up every once in a while. It's on the stands right now, and it starts up and runs really well. Really happy with the way the forks came out. They look almost brand new. There's a video. I talked about that. Yeah, I drilled the bolt out, but you can watch that video if you haven't seen it. And now, yeah. So then the truck is waiting I got my truck going. I got everything back from the powder coater, but it's currently waiting on the 911 that I'm working on to move. 911's getting there. We're about to put the engine drivetrain, back in it. But it's got to move so that I can move my frame of my truck out and paint it. And I gotta set up a paint booth. So it's waiting on that. So and then I've got to go to Sonoma here at the end of the month. So that's gonna be probably when I get back from that. I think will be the time that'll all be happening. But anyway, another thing I've been going over, and I'm not going to say where I'm doing it because it's not all finalized yet. But I have been training to be a driving coach, and so I got this opportunity to be a driving coach somewhere, and it's for a company that they got some notoriety in the car industry. I'll probably say where when I'm through the certification process, but it's probably the best place I think you could probably be a driving coach, or to even start to be a driving coach, because it has everything to do with a car, every driving technique, every driving dynamic with a car. That you can go through to kind of display to somebody all the capabilities of a car on pave. Well, they even have off-road stuff there too, but we're just talking about the pavement part. That's what we're doing right now. We're doing all the pavement stuff, but it's got everything. I mean, it's got modules to do oversteer, understeer, self-induced oversteer, non-self-induced oversteer, linking it all together so you can do drift transitions. It's got everything. It really does. And it's in California. But it's an honor to even be considered and to go through the process. And when you're learning how to drive fast, it's such a selfish thing, because you're so focused on going faster that you're moving yourself faster, that you're trying to go faster and go faster, go faster. I gotta get tense off here. And I remember one of the first racing schools I ever went to was out at Chuckwalla, and you start out and you're just chasing this lap time all day. You're chasing the lap time around that course all day long, and you're just trying to knock tenths off. You're trying to knock tenths off. You're trying to knock tenths off. And you don't care what's going on, and you're coming up to lap the other people in your class, and that is a good feeling. And then you do other programs, and it's all about lap times. It's like they're trying to show you through lap times that you're progressing. This place is not about lap times. There's no lap times here. It's all about technique. And the thing about being a driving coach is it's not about, essentially, I mean, you have to be a good driver to be a driving coach. It's required to work at this place to be a good driver. They have to make sure first you are a good driver. But I'm not any longer trying to build my skill set as a good driver. I'm trying to translate this and what I know to somebody else. And that is the biggest challenge. And then we've got to keep us all safe. So I've got to work within their skill set to not only, and they might even just want to be shown a good time. They might even want to add to a skill set. They might just are there, for a corporate event, and their company said they had to be there. And you've got to kind of take them through everything and show them a good time, and that could be, I guess, depending on the person, could be dangerous because they don't know what's going on. But you have to be able to kind of maneuver with that and display to them that we're gonna be safe, and we're gonna put these cars in situations that we don't normally do, and we're gonna have fun, and we're gonna do all these things, and then you're gonna leave. And you have to be able to build that into their experience. And essentially, everybody that gets there, you want everybody to show up, and you want everybody to have a good time. That's the number one goal. Some people are going to want to build an experience, or some people are going to build a skill set. And some people are just going to want a good experience, and some people are going to want to show you that they're faster than you. And you've got to be able to kind of take every single one and, I guess, bring the car home. Essentially that's what it is. You got to bring the car home, and so it's challenging, and I do really feel challenged, and I think that's why I like it, and I think there's a certain amount of it's a fear, and not fear in a negative way. Fear, when I remember going on deployment for the first time, in the Marine Corps, and what are we doing? And I would look at my leaders at the time, and for the Iraq invasion, and nobody knew what was going to happen. Nobody knew. Like, well, we're preparing for all these things, but we don't know what's going to happen. And then I remember March 20th and that kicking off, and there was this fear. There was this fear that I felt. But at the same time, it was like, man, it feels so good. It feels so good to be scared like that, to be outright scared, but know that, well, it doesn't matter, because that's just a feeling. That's just a feeling. Now, I think in these moments, you have people that get scared and then they back off and they back down and they go, okay, well, let's go back to comfort. And then you have people that are faced with this feeling of fear and they go, okay, well, wait a minute. Other people have been faced with this feeling of fear before, and they push through and they get to the other side. Now, what's on that other side? And there's that fear of the unknown. Well, what is on the other side? Well, I don't know. And it takes that kind of like curiosity and adventure mindset to kind of push to the other side. So which one do? You don't know. But you won't know until you put yourself in those positions. So you've got to put it. And I guess I've put myself in a few of those positions, and I like to push through the other side. But that feeling of fear, you don't get that. And I think the older you get, the harder it is to get that feeling because you have more experience. So I'm always searching for, like, how do I get that feeling? When I was 18, I was easy because I didn't know shit about anything. Deployment, what do we do? It's like, yeah, I can shoot this rifle. I can do all the things you tell me to do in training, put my gas mask on that and all that stuff. But when there's a scud flying at you and the alarms are going off and everybody's running to put their gas mask on, you're like, oh, wait a minute. This is where that moment where you got to put it on right. You've got to put that gas mask on correctly. Because if you don't, who know? You don't know. And luckily, nothing happened, but we didn't know. We were told, like, well, scuds are coming. We don't know. And you just kind of did it. You just kind of powered through and overcame the fear. But when you overcome the fear after that feeling after, when it's all settled, when the dust has settled, and that feeling of overcoming, and then you've built yourself up to this other level, and you're like, oh shit, like I just did that, and I'm here, and I'm good, and that I felt that fear, and I kind of, you wrangled that fear in, and you showed that fear what was boss, and you moved through. So I'm feeling that with the coaching. I'm feeling that feeling of that scared feeling of, oh man, this is an unknown territory for me. Because I've never done this before. I've been in ride and drives when you're riding, but I don't get scared with them because we're not going that fast. And the intention is not to go fast. The intention is to just show them the capabilities of the vehicle. I can easily. There was one time at Coronado Speed Festival where we set up with like Corvettes and Camaros and we did some, but we had a much open space and all you would run over was a cone. And if you spun out, you just spun out. But this is like the place I'm doing it at has elevation changes and walls on both sides, and you're in really fast cars, and they're expensive, and this is going to be something to do day in and day out. So there's a bit higher fear level, and I like it. I will admit that I like it, and I like the challenge, and it feels really good, and I just can't wait to break through that and get in that groove to where you go, okay, I got this grasp. And of course, there's always going to be this learning thing. You're going to have, consumers who teach you things all the time, and you're going to learn from them, and you're going to get experiences from them, and you go, okay, I got to watch out for that again, and you're going to have maybe a close call, and you're going to, oh, I got to watch out for that. But it's much easier to deal with those when you've dealt with the whole big thing first. So you got to deal with all the big thing first, and you've got to get them, at this place, you've got to get them to certify you first. So that's the thing. It's like, I got to convince these guys that I can even do this first. So I'm just trying to get through that process. And I think, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get through it. I'm either going to get through it or they're going to tell me, no, you need to not do this. there's no quit. There's never a quit. So I'll go until I get it, or they tell me to leave. I mean, that's essentially what it comes down to. But man, it's a good challenge. I will say this is a great challenge, and it's been good. It's been fun, and I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to continuing the journey. I've gone 2 days for coach training already, and I'm about to go a couple more. But I wanted to kind of talk that through about the feelings of that, because I think a lot of people get to that point with that feeling and it's unknown and they don't know what to do, and then they go with comfort. Go back to comfort, and you're never gonna. What are you gonna do in comfort, other than feel comfortable? If you want to grow and you want to get better at something, you're never gonna get any better if you don't go. It's like unless you go and you break through the uncomfortableness, you're never going to grow. You're just going to go back to comfort all the time. So every time you're faced with fear, you're just going to go to comfort. Like, I mean, if you just want that feeling of fear, I guess. But I want that feeling of fear and then victory. And you're not going to get the feeling of fear followed by the feeling of victory unless you push through to the other side. You're just not going to get it. It's just not going to happen. That's not how it works. You're going to get the feeling of fear and the feeling of comfort. So you want the feeling of fear, and then you want the feeling to be comforted again. Hey, to each their own. Go for it, but I don't know. To me, that seems kind of like a waste of fear, if you know what I mean. So, I mean, that's it. That's all I got, I think, for today. I think, I don't even know how long that was, but anyway, I think I'll probably do these whenever I feel like it from now on. I don't know if I'll do them because I feel like I run out of topics, or I feel like I'm going to build up. Maybe, if I do them every week, it'll be like, a lot's going on and I got to get some shit off my chest or something. But, yeah, I think I'm just going to wait till I build up that kind of feeling of doing it, and then I'll do it again. Yeah, so we'll see. But anyway, if you've listened to this, thanks for listening. I know it's kind of, right now, I don't know, maybe you got something out of this, maybe you didn't, but, if you got something out of it, that was the intention of me putting it out there. And then also it's kind of it's a therapeutic thing, it's good to talk it out sometimes, just with yourself, so that nobody interrupts you while you're talking, because that can be annoying too. And I'm still going to work towards having, a guest or something on one of these things. We'll see. We'll build up to that. Just like the fear. But anyway, thanks for listening. Have a great one. And watch I think we got the Hungarian Grand Prix coming up this weekend. So watch that. I recommend. And then also, we've got Mayweather, Conor McGregor coming up August 26th. And if you're not excited for that, then you're not a fight fan. I don't care. Just throw out the fact that people say, well, he doesn't have any experience boxing. Well, he does, though. He's got fight experience. Like, that's the thing. It's a fight. We're looking at a fight. We're just looking at a fight in a specific rule set. That's the only difference. Now, he doesn't have to approach it like a boxer. You don't have to approach a boxing fight like a boxer. In the past, that's what everybody has done against Mayweather. They've approached Mayweather like a boxer. And look what's happened. If you come to Mayweather, Mayweather's got this huge, he's probably the best technical boxer of all time. Oh, so here he comes with his technical boxing skill set. And you go, you know what? I'm gonna take my technical boxing skill set and see if it's better than yours. And everybody's done that. And he goes, nope. He's showing them that, nope, his technical boxing skill set's better. But what if you'd go, well, wait a minute. So I just got to stay within the rules. But I'm going to have this other non-technical boxing skill set. I'm going to do some other different things. Let's see if that skill set, and that's what Conor McGregor's doing. He's saying, I've got this skill set, and we're going to see if this skill set is the combination, the equation, the formula to beat your technical boxing skill set when we play within these rules. Because that's the thing about the rules. The rules don't dictate the technical boxing. We've come up with our own technical boxing stuff today. It's just like Formula One comes out with a rule set, and every team has their interpretation of that rules. Well, that's what we're going to see. We're going to see in a boxing rule set that they have depicted, the Queensberry, whatever they say. You know, they always say, "Oh, if you fight me in the Queensberry rules or whatever, the Knights of Queens, whatever it is." That's their rule set. That's like, here we go. Here's what we're gonna fight in. But that doesn't mean that you have to interpret it the same way. As long as you stay legal within that rule set and you don't do anything, dirty, I guess. Then you can do whatever you want. You can move differently. And that's where I think people are overlooking this. They're looking at, well, he's never fought like a boxer. He's never fought. Look at Canelo Alvarez. He hasn't fought him like that. Well, you have no shit. But look what happens when you do fight Mayweather like that. He beats you. So why would you... If you watched a guy going up to, a bear, and every time the guy walks up to the front of the bear and the bear hits him, and then the next guy comes up and then comes up to the bear and the bear hits him, and you watch like 10 guys do that, why would the 11th guy, if you're the 11th guy, why would you walk straight up to the bear? You wouldn't walk straight up to the bear. You would do something different. Well, I would hope you would do something different, because if you didn't do something different, then, well, that's kind of dumb. You don't want to be a lemming. You want to come up with something different. So I'm going to come up to the bear from a different angle. And that's as simple as that. I'm going to come up not straight to the bear. I'm going to flank the bear. Flank the bear. I'm going to get the bear. I'm going to get the bear's back. I'm using that term loosely. I'm not saying Conor McGregor's going to jump on his back and whatever. But that's as simple as we can break it down. You walk up to the bear hits you. 10 guys do that. The 11th guy can't keep doing. Hell, the 6th guy shouldn't have done that. The 3rd guy shouldn't have done that. But that's what everybody's doing against Mayweather. And then we're saying, well, he doesn't have any boxing experience. It doesn't really matter, because he's fighting him. So we can ignore the fact that the boxing experience means absolutely nothing, because he's fighting him. So everybody's trying to make this argument of why he shouldn't fight him, but he's gonna fight him. So throw that argument. It's already gonna happen. So throw those arguments out, and let's just watch. Let's watch what happens, because I can guarantee to you, Conor McGregor is not gonna walk up to the bear straight to the front of the bear. I guarantee you that. I will guarantee you that, because he hasn't ever walked straight up to the front of the bear when he's fought the other bears, like Jose Aldo and Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway. He's done different things every single time. Nate Diaz, I don't think he walked straight up to the bear originally, but the bear still got him. And then he was like, wait a minute, okay, I got it. And then he had a redo. So he had a redo. But he got him on the second time, in my opinion. That could be argued, but I think he got him. He knocked him down a bunch of times. Nobody ever knocks Nate Diaz down like that. And that's something we have to all recognize. Nobody ever treats Nate Diaz like that. And he did. And he used leg kicks. So he used something that, I'm not going to try to punch out. I'll punch this guy first. I'm going to try to kick this guy first. See? And that's why MMA is far superior than boxing. Because you have to incorporate all these other things. Anyway, enough of that rant. I'm ending this now. Take that with whatever. Leave it. You want to argue with that? Hey, there's comments down there. You can argue with that all you want. I'll even respond to. I'm not one of those people who doesn't respond to people. I respond to every single person in my comments. So you can go back and look. And there's not that many people, but I respond to every single one. So anyway, that's it for today. Until next time, I'm Jeff White. This is the Jaws of Life podcast. Take it easy.